Okay, so we're going to continue now to set up the NetScaler SSL offload side. So we're going back into the main XMNMulti device manager, and we're going to go into the Tomcat conf file. From there, we're going to copy the certificate file, which is named cacerts.pem, and what we're going to do with this, we're going to edit this file. We're going to create two different certificates. One is going to be the device CA, the other one's going to be the root CA from the XMNMulti device manager. So all we do is with the editor, we're just going to break it down into two different files, and we're going to save this at .cer format. So we're going to create two certificates. We'll go through the whole process here now. So you can see here, all I did is just edit it with no++, and then just creating two separate files within text, just Notepad. And you see I'm going to name them with ca-root, and also going to create one that's called device-root. That way we can have both of the certificates from the XMNMulti device manager. They are used to validate the device certificates, and we're going to put those into the NetScaler. So we're going to go through a few steps in doing this right now. So I'll complete these files now, and then we're going to move to the NetScaler. Okay. So you see I have two certificates now, ca-root and ca-device. So I could go now back to my NetScaler console. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to go into the XMMobile icon and going to hit configure for the XMMobile device manager load balancing. We're going to use offload SSL, which is SSL offload. And we're going to give here the IP that's going to be translated to the external access to the users. It gives you an explanation here what this IP is used for, and we're just giving a default name to create those load balanced virtual IPs. So since it's a server connection we're making, we need to have a server certificate. I previously have my wildcard installed. One of the options that we start here is the root is no bind. You can do it here depending on the format of the certificate. I don't need it right now, so you're going to do it, click on do it later to continue. And now we're going to proceed to install the device certificates, the one we copied from the XMNMobile device manager server. So you can click install certificate. We're going to browse. So you see I'm browsing to the location on the server where I saved those two certificates. So we can see them here. CA device cert. We're going to start with that one. And we're going to continue to upload. Then you notice that now in order to order the second one, I'm going to click the edit button on the right hand side, and now I'm going to add my second device certificate from the XMNMobile device manager. So we did the device first, and now we're going to do the root. And I'll show you when we move on how this shows both of the certificates are going to be there. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, since we load balancing the XMNMobile device manager, we need to add the backend servers. So I'm putting the IP of my two XMNMobile device manager that we previously clustered on the video number 1. And you see that both of the load balance virtual IP get created for port 443 and A443. And then I'm going to add the second one now. Okay, so now I got all four of them. 2 for 443 and 2 for 8443, so they're going to load balance between the two backend servers. And the next, we're just going to click now complete or done, and this is going to create all the settings, the SSL policies, which we're going to revise once it's completed. Okay, so we're going to traffic management now, load balancing virtual servers. We see now that we have two load balanced virtual IPs, one for 4443 and one for 8443, and we see the two backend servers, port 80 to once the traffic offloaded, we're going to talk to the backend through the NetScaler in port 80. So let's look now at the port 443, which is the one we're going to bind all the policies, and we bind the certificates for the device manager. You see now they're both there, device and root. And then we also see the SSL policy was created to the virtual IP. Just know that we bind policies just to the 443. Now there's some tweaks we want to do to apply to XMNMobile. The first thing, we're going to go into settings, change HTTP parameters, and the wizard you see the disable connection multiplexing. That's already done by the wizard. We just want to double check this there in order to avoid any conflict and backend communication to the mobile device manager. And then we also going to go now and look at the persistence setup in each one of the virtual servers that we created, virtual IPs. So going back to traffic management, virtual servers, we're going to start with the 443 one again. And on the right hand side now you're going to see the persistent, but we're also going to check now the SSL parameters. So we scroll down to SSL parameters, we hit the pen for edit, and we want to make sure that we have all the settings set up the way that we show here on in the documentation. So we want to SSL redirect in order to avoid any issue connecting to the console, and it's a redirect port read write as well. Now another setting within the protocols, we're going to make sure that we have SSL version 3 and TLS version 1 enabled. Okay, so let me confirm some settings here. Now we're going to disable enable federal RSA because we're not using that at this point. Validate everything else. We see the client certificate set up to optional. We got client authentication enabled, and we're going to now look at the persistent. So for the persistence, we actually going to set this up to use the SSL session, and since it's the 443 that's going to be sending all the policies and all the different communication to the devices, we're going to change the time value to 1440. We'll save this. Check there, all the savings, everything was taken. You see the session. Now we're going to go into the 8443 load balance virtual IP, which is the one used for iOS enrollment, and in some cases also used for Windows 8.1 phone. So here we're going to validate all the settings are the same. We're going to disable whatever we're not using here. There's nothing apply. As you can see, there's no client authentication set up on this one because this is only used for enrollment iOS. We got the SSL redirect and SSL redirect port read write also. Now we check the protocol, SSL version 3 and TLS version 1. We're going to save this, and we're going to set up the persistent against SSL session, and we're going to leave it at the default value on the timeout because this is only used for enrollment. So we're going to save this. Make sure all the settings apply. And then once it's saved, we can do now some testing. So sure everything looks good and everything is green. We see the persistence apply. We're going to save your config. And what I'm going to do now, we're going to test enrolling a device. Just notice that for security purposes, I grayed out some of the information. And just add a banner to cover some of the information, but we're enrolling a device. I'm going to go through a normal process, installing the certificate, getting all the profiles pushed to the device. Everything's it's working normal. Authenticating to the store, so it's making the connection to the backend controller. We're going to get some apps already getting pushed. And you can see what was the application getting pushed. You can see the NetScaler traffic going through a NetScaler. We can see the load that gets generated and the throughput per application. And I push it like 4 or 5 applications at a time just to stress. And now we also see, if we go into the NetScaler console, now we can check the SSL policies getting hit. And let us know that actually it's applying the policy and the traffic is going through so you just configure virtual IPs. You see the policy is getting hit. So you can switch now to disable one server, put one out of service. If you want to, you can test the load balancing. I'm doing this on the back end, and I still, getting connections to the store, and the application keep getting pushed, even switching the servers. The store is still connections. You have one bound server that's putting back all. So again, I hope this helps. This is Albert Alvarez with America's Readiness, configuring XM9Multi device manager clustering with SSL offload. Thank you.